Hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to retake Faceit on Overpass as a CT in CS2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. By the way, we are doing free giveaways every month. In these giveaways, you can win various CS2 skins and free CS2 course access passes created by a Faceit level 10 coach who has experience in high tier CS2 teams. To sign up, simply visit the CS2 polls giveaway page and follow the instructions. Link is in the description. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So firstly, let's begin by talking about the positioning. So in the start, usually the T's love to play in these common angles. They love to play in towards default, holding this position like so. They love to play behind this large pillar holding heaven and sometimes micromanaging monster as well. There's usually most of the time one player who's gonna be holding short, whether it's from this angle or he's just gonna go wide out and play aggressively and hold this position and also manage this position as well. And he can also hold this position of where heaven is, and he can also hold this area where ABC is, and it can also be held, for example, from this corner as well. If he can hold ABC from this corner, then he can also micromanage monster as well. So these are most of the common angles if the T's decide to play really passively, but they can sometimes play aggressively as well. For example, some of the T's love to play in this corner in the start, so they love to hold this position like so, but they also love to play way more passively because usually when this position is getting started, then at least one of the players will get killed from the CT side, but they instantly most likely get retraded by their teammates. So I'm not going to discuss on how to counter this position because most likely you can just instantly wide peek if you just clear this angle first. If there is a smoke, you won't have any scenarios that you can pretty much go for, and in my suggestion, it's better to save in this occasion unless you're in a really advantaged position. For example, if you're in a 5v3 scenario, then yes, of course you should commit to the retake, but if you're just in a 3v3 scenario and you're really smoked off and the smoke is really late, then it's really difficult for you to hold this position. So instead, I wouldn't recommend going towards ABC. Instead, if you really want to retake, I'd suggest going heaven instead of ABC, or instead you just wait for your teammates to go towards this area and just take the positioning of short or monster, for example. But these are going to be the main positions that the T's love to play in. So now I'm going to talk about what the best positioning for the CT side is. So depending on what scenario you're in, whether it's a 2v5 or like a 3 people alive or 4 scenario, it really depends on that. But most likely the main positions that you really need a teammate from is going to be heaven, because this player is going to be holding all the positions one by one. He's going to be micromanaging this entire area of sight, so he can really do some effective damage to the enemies. For example, if he has an op, then he can hold several positions one by one and clear them like so. This is going to be the best weapon for this player, but an M4 is also pretty good, and I'm going to show you a couple of lineups later on. But firstly, I'm going to discuss about all the positions. So another position, of course, that is really crucial is, as I mentioned, ABC, because this is going to be the best entry towards the side, since you can stay on the ground. You don't have to jump out like you do in heaven side, and you can just instantly entry towards the side, but you will be open towards the most amount of angles possible. So that's why it's really dangerous to play in this position, but with the right utility, you can definitely play a really good ABC side. So apart from this, another player is crucial, that one of them is going to be flanking. So for example, whether it's going to be from short, this is going to be the short player who's going to just go in towards this area of short, or he can also go towards monster if he really wants to rotate, but it will take a really long amount of time, so I wouldn't recommend doing that too oftenly. And of course, there's also this position where the players can come from monster, but this is not really crucial. You only need at least one player who's going to be flanking, whether it's from short or monster, as I mentioned previously. So apart from this, let's begin by talking about the utility. So for example, let's start from the ABC player. The ABC player needs the most amount of utility. That's why it's really crucial that you have a teammate who's also supporting him. For example, if you're in a 4v3 scenario or a 4-player alive on CT side scenario in general, you have to have one of your teammates who's just going to be holding this area, making sure that none of the T's decide to push ABC and catch your teammate off guard while he's throwing this utility. So what is going to be like a 2 ABC, 1 heaven, and 1 short or monster stack, for example. So now let's begin by talking about the ABC utilities. So firstly, this player can throw several good utilities. For example, if he wants to counter anyone who's going to be playing in short or that side close to pillar, he's going to just stand in this left corner where the red doors are. He's going to stuck himself in this corner like so, and then he's going to look in between this area where this line is splitting the shadow and the bright part of this flat, and he's just going to look slightly above this area, left click throw, and then he's going to pull out his Molotov, look in this dark side where this area of the wall is, and he's just going to left click throw to bounce off a pretty good Molotov that lands in this area where it doesn't get faded from the smoke. So it's a very good lineup, and it's going to smoke off, this smoke is going to smoke off anyone who's going to be playing in short, and if they want to entry out towards this area, they will be hit by this Molotov. So it's just going to be a really effective lineup, and he will automatically be standing behind this pillar. So now if he's going to be standing behind this pillar, or any other teammates will be standing behind the pillar, your teammate can just instantly, after he throws both of the smoke and the Molotov, of course, after he throws both of these utilities, he's gonna instantly run to this left corner like so, aim and position himself on the right side of this window wall, and then he's just gonna look in this area where the graffiti is, jump throw, and throw a pretty neat lineup for a nade that lands perfectly in towards this area. The benefit of this nade is that it will nade anyone who's gonna be playing in around this area and around this area as well, so it will just do some extra effective damage for this player. It will also just be a really good nade setup. You're just gonna use your Molotov really effectively, you will smoke off short, and then you will also deal a significant damage to anyone who's gonna be playing in pillar, and most likely there will be a person because he can micromanage several angles. He can hold short, heaven, he can check ABC from time to time, and monster as well, so it's pretty much a god position for this player if they have short control as well, of course. So this is one of the most common positions on T side, so that's why this nade is definitely effective when you're gonna be retaking B side from ABC. So apart from this utility, this player can also be standing in this corner, look in this line where this area is, and just left click throw a flash to bank it off this wall, and it won't blind him, but it will blind anyone who's going to be standing in these common positions. For example, anyone who's going to be standing in this corner where pillar is, they will get instantly blinded. Same goes for anyone who's going to be holding this area on heaven, for example. If they're going to be standing there, they will also get blinded by this flash. Anyone who's going to be playing close, for example, towards under heaven, this area where ABC is, or water, for example, if I didn't mention it, then they will also get instantly blinded by this flash. So it's also a very good lineup, and I definitely recommend you use it because this is going to be one of the best flash lineups that you will do as an ABC player. So now let's talk about the heaven player. For example, the heaven player is one of the crucial players who's going to be just peeking out heaven, and his main priority is to not get killed instantly when he's peeking out this area. So the best way to counter this is just by using this simple smoke. If you stand in this right corner, then left click throw by aiming in the middle part of this frame of the double door and just letting go, and this smoke will land perfectly on the edge of heaven, smoking it off fully so you can entry out safer. And the best benefit of this smoke is that you can jump up on top of this railing and not be spotted by anyone quickly, so you can instantly catch someone off guard, or instead you can also move to the right side as well, which you will be more open to, but in some scenarios it does help if you want to just instantly push and play really aggressively and clear some corners. And also another benefit of this smoke, for example, is when it lands in this corner, it creates this large waterfall from the smoke, so the player can instantly just drop down as well if he really wants to, and he won't be really spotted by anyone unless he reaches this area of water, or for example anyone's going to be holding this area from pillar. But then your ABC player of course comes in as well, and he can also spot anyone who might be holding this position. So in general, this is going to be one of the better smokes that you will use from heaven, and combined with the smoke, you can also use another flash. If you want to entry out really quickly, you can just stand in this corner and in the edge of this wall and just left click throw as you run, then you just instantly after the flash pops drop down if you want, or for example you can just stay in this area and you can just push this area instantly, or you can instantly peek out. It's really up to you. Now let's talk about this player who might be pushing short from connector. So this player can be standing in this corner, and he instantly needs to clear this area of short. So the best way to do that is instantly stand in this corner, aim straight ahead, left click throw, and bank off a flash against this window that instantly pops out, blinding anyone who might be standing in these common corners. For example, under this corner and this corner, anyone who's going to be holding short. The only corner that it won't blind is going to be this corner, of course, but no one's going to be holding you, so you might have to clear it later on in the round. But if you instantly want to clear it, for example, you can also do that if you're going to be standing in the left side of this railing like so, and then you're going to look in this right side window, and you're going to look in this brick part in the top left corner and just left click throw. So you're going to throw a pretty neat Molotov that will block off anyone who might be holding you from this area, for example. Or if you want to go more to the left, then you can also stand in the same corner as I showed, and then you can just look in the middle of the second window and at the bottom part. So you're just going to left click throw like so, and it will bounce off this wall and molly anyone who might be standing deep in towards this corner like so. So it will also be a pretty neat molly for that job. And after that you can instantly throw the flash, of course, and then just instantly peek out like so. Now, if you're going to be playing from monster or flanking from the T side, you can throw several useful utilities as well. So this is going to be a really simple lineup compared to the second one that I'm going to show you, but it's also a very effective lineup. So you're going to be standing in the left corner of this large wall, aiming to the right side of it, position yourself straight ahead like so. It doesn't have to be too accurate, but the more accurate the better in my opinion. So if you're going to look in this left corner of this brick that's shaped like a square, and you're just going to aim down until you reach this area where the plank is, and then just left click throw, jump throw. Then you're going to throw a pretty neat smoke that lands in this corner of default, smoking off anyone who might be holding you from this area for the heaven player or for the ABC player. So this is going to be a really supportive smoke, and it will also help your teammates out a lot in this occasion, especially if you combine, for example, the ABC's player smokes lineup for this area and short. Then you will have everything smoked, and you will have a pretty neat execute like so. But you can also throw a second smoke, for example, but this is going to be a really difficult smoke, so I really recommend you practice it in practice servers before you try it out in real games. You're going to be standing in this corner and you're going to position yourself, get stuck in between these two cones like so, and then as you look in the sky, you're going to line yourself, your right knuckle up with this area so it's close to this blue dot, and then you're just going to look in this position of the sky and left click throw. And this lineup is really good for one simple reason: it lands on top of the default box and it smokes off anyone who might be holding short. So if your ABC player doesn't smoke short, for example, this heaven player won't be open to it, and he won't be open to default. He will only be open to this position behind the pillar and monster, of course. But it cuts off a huge area, and it also smokes anyone who might be standing in water. So this is going to be one of the god smokes that you can do from the flanker position in monster. With this utility, you definitely have a high chance of retaking the site successfully, so I definitely recommend you practice some of it. I recommend going to prac servers and just trying out the utility yourself before you do it in real games, because if you do, you might have some casualties, and the casualties might be not on your side. So I definitely recommend you practice them before you throw them. And as I mentioned, this is going to be one of the best set of utilities that you can do from every single position once you're going to be retaking B-site on Overpass as a CT. Thank you everyone for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. This was how to retake B-site on Overpass as a CT in CS2. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment down in the comments below on what you want us to do next, and I'll see you in the next video.